Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One, and I am back with another video. Okay, reports are surfacing that Carmelo Anthony is going to lift his no trade clause, and the two teams he's interested in trading to is either the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Houston Rockets. Now, reports are out there in social media. That's the two options Carmelo Anthony is willing to go, and that's the only way he's going to be traded, lift his no trade clause. Now, to me, when I heard about this, to me, being a realist and understanding how NBA trades work, ultimately, let's just say hypothetically, he wants to be traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. For this to even happen, basically the Cleveland Cavaliers is going to have to give up either Kyrie Irving or Kevin Love. Now, the Cleveland Cavaliers are unwilling to give away Kyrie Irving because he's the engine that makes everything go. So he's off the discussion and off the block. And when you're talking about Kevin Love, to be truthfully honest with you, if you look at it from the standpoint of the New York Knicks, why even entertain that offering of Kevin Love for Carmelo Anthony? Even though Kevin Love is younger, but at the end of the day, you got Christian Porzingis, and basically they're similar players. They have a low post game as well as a mid-range and a three-point game, and you already have that type of player and that type of style with the New York Knicks currently right now. Okay, now when you look at it from the Houston Rockets standpoint, Carmelo Anthony going there, they can probably give up a couple of draft picks and maybe a player or two to offer that trade. And out of the two teams, I feel like the Houston Rockets have a bigger chance of getting Carmelo Anthony versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, so if he goes to the Houston Rockets, now you have Carmelo Anthony, you have Chris Paul, you have James Harden. All right, clearly all three of these players are ISO type players. Okay, now out of the three, I think James Harden can play without the ball, and he had some experience by doing that because he played with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. I don't know why that guy was, he was almost in the street, okay? But all right, whatever. Trying to pull into a traffic, that's how a lot of accidents happen. So when you look at it, that may be an interesting tandem there between those three individuals. Now, is that enough to overtake and dethrone the Golden State Warriors? To me, no. Now, if that happens, that deal is going to be pretty much similar and identical to the Paul George going to the Thunder. Basically, if anything, the New York Knicks may get a draft pick and a player, or maybe two players, to make this trade fit and make this trade work. And that second player is probably a player that really isn't going to be necessarily contributing to the New York Knicks, and they're going to probably release him for salary cap reasons. Okay, but out of those two teams, I think the Houston Rockets have a better chance of landing Carmelo Anthony. Okay, now, as long as the New York Knicks don't want everything under the sun, this deal will work. Okay, in order for the Cleveland Cavaliers to get Carmelo Anthony, well, they're going to need three teams to make this work. Now, there were speculations and reports out there that around the NBA draft, there was a scenario put in place by the former GM of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he had a scenario set up to where they would have gotten Carmelo Anthony, and the Phoenix Suns was going to get Kevin Love. All right, and the New York Knicks was going to get a couple of draft picks. All right. Now, the reason why that deal fell apart because when you look at it in the bigger picture, in the grand scheme of things, even if that trade would have went down, yeah, you would solve some of your problems with the Golden State Warriors, but you're not going to. Then you'll just be adding more problems with not only the Golden State Warriors, but the East. Okay, you really don't have a low post threat other than LeBron James, and LeBron James, chooses not to do that. Even though when he did that with the Miami Heat, it actually worked out. All right, so you'll lose Kevin Love, but you'll also lose that 3-point shooting, as well as his low post game, his offensive rebounding. You lose all of that, but you will gain a player like Carmelo Anthony, which Carmelo Anthony is not known for being a defensive stopper, but on the perimeter, he can better guard like Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson. He can guard either or of those players, as well as LeBron James. But then what about the low post? Okay, Christian Thompson was pretty much useless in the finals. All right, so you'll solve some problems, but then you'll generate and create more problems with not only the Golden State Warriors, but when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, the East. Now you kind of weaken your team in the East, and I'm not saying the Boston Celtics can beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, but it's going to be a longer series now because now you don't have Kevin Love. Okay, so we're going to have to wait and see. If I was a betting man, I think the Houston Rockets are going to have more entertaining pieces for the Cleveland Cavaliers. For the New York Knicks versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the New York Knicks are thinking, look, if we got both of these teams, I'd rather see Carmelo Anthony in the West. Therefore, we don't have to play him a lot in the East. So I feel like the New York Knicks organization would love to see Carmelo Anthony with the Houston Rockets versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's just my opinion on it. Okay. Now, just a side note, a lot of people were commenting in the comment section talking about the 76ers going to be a playoff team, and when you really look at it, I can entertain that notion. But however, when you look at the teams that are right now ready for and built for the playoffs, when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Wizards, when you talk about the Bucks, I always leave every time the Celtics, and there were two other teams I can't think of right now off the bat, but let's just say those four teams. I think the 76ers can, if they match up with either of those four teams, I think they're going to have a hard time winning a series with those teams, much less winning a game. Okay, I think they can win a game with the Wizards. I think they can win a game with the Celtics, but they're not going to win that series. All right, so yeah, and when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, the reason why the 76ers are going to be a playoff contender because, and the Heat, I'm sorry about the Heat, that's 6 teams. All right, the reason why they're going to be a playoff contender is for the simple fact of, well, if you look at the East is kind of diluted, excuse me. When you look at the Bulls are rebuilding. All right, so they're not going to be a playoff contender. When you look at the Charlotte Hornets are not going to be a playoff contender. All right, and sorry about the light, guys. I'm trying to get this light out of my eyes. And when you look at there was one other team I was going to mention. Even though if I think the Heat are going to be a playoff team, even without Haywood, if they don't get Brendan Haywood to join the Heat, the Heat is still a good playoff team. I think the 76ers can be a playoff team, but to me, this is just my opinion in this situation. I don't think the 76ers are going to beat either of those 6 teams that I mentioned early. All right. I think they're going to have I think the struggle is real when you talk about the 76ers if they have to play the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Wizards. They may win a game, maybe 2 games with the Heat, but I don't think out of those teams I just mentioned, they're going to win the series. Okay, that's just my opinion. And to say for somebody in the comment section said, well, when you look at it, Chris, they better than the Phoenix Suns. Okay? They better than the Los Angeles Lakers. And to that I say this, if this team was loaded and had better talent, then why would you want to compare that team to teams that are clearly rebuilding? All right? The Wizards were rebuilding. The Philadelphia 76ers have been rebuilding for the past 3 to 4 years. Okay? Now, another thing about the 76ers, and a lot of people don't talk about it, is Ben Simmons. He hasn't been known to last a season. He's always injury prone. They have other players in that organization that has been injury prone. They haven't played a whole season, and how that could affect the 76ers' chance on getting a playoff spot. So first of all, I think we need to slow this down a little bit. Let's let the 76ers somehow, some way, let's see if the 76ers can stay healthy through the season, okay? And if they can do that, then let's talk about the 76ers and playoff aspirations and this, that, and the third, okay? I think we're doing a little bit too much. Last year, the 76ers were rebuilding. A year before that, they was rebuilding. And 3 years after that, they were tanking the season to get draft picks, okay? So, I think we need to slow down on the 76ers. I think they are the future. They're definitely the future. But first of all, let's slow this cart down a little bit, and let's see if the 76ers can get those star players healthy throughout the season. That's all I'm saying. Now, if they are willing and able to do that, then let's talk about the playoffs, okay? And we'll just go from there. All right. I'm not going to say the 76ers are garbage, okay, or garbage. All right. But I will say the 76ers, we have to wait and see how this process develops. We have to trust the process. Now, they did sign JJ Redick, but I told you guys over the weekend, I feel like that's a cash grab, because there was reports out there surfacing that JJ Redick had an opportunity to go to the San Antonio Spurs. There was reports out there, rumors out there. I don't know how good these rumors were about JJ Redick going to the Golden State Warriors. He would have to take less money, but if you're talking about the move of JJ Redick, saying, well, this is clearly a move where JJ Redick wants to contend. His old team that he came from, let's just be real and let's be fair and let's be honest. If Chris Paul was still on that squad, the Clippers, last year, the Clippers squad was a lot better than the 76ers squad, okay? I'm just throwing that out there, all right? But if you look at it from the grand scheme of things, JJ Redick, he chose the money. And yes, he wanted to be reunited with his coach, because he used to play with that same coach in college. Yeah, that's good and all, but to sit up here and say, well, this move is clearly a move to say that, well, he went there for championship aspirations. It's a 1-year deal. It's, you know, the 76ers, they're the future, but I don't think the future is now, okay? chances are he's going to play through this 1 year deal, become a free agent, and then explore his options. If the Golden State Warriors are still running roughshod, which they will next year, next summer he may re-sign with the Golden State Warriors for much, much less money. If the Golden State Warriors are still entertaining the notion of JJ Redick, or he may go, he may sign with the the San Antonio Spurs, okay? Or he could have took less money, and went to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I feel like if he would have waited, he would have gotten Kyle Korver's money. Well, let me correct that. The Cleveland Cavaliers really can't sign any free agents without getting rid of some of the players that they have on their roster, okay? But if he really wanted championships, the teams he should have went to the Spurs, which there was rumors out there that suggested that JJ Redick was going to the Spurs, but the Spurs was not going to pay him nowhere near the money that he got with the 76ers, okay? Yes, the 76ers are a future team. I like what they've been doing for the past 4 years as far as drafting and developing the talent, but I think we need to slow down on the 76ers. Let's see if they can stay healthy and consistent next season before we start saying that well, they're a playoff team. I think they're going to be in the playoffs by default because so many other teams by the wayside are rebuilding. The Orlando Magic, the Hornets, the Bulls, the New York Knicks been rebuilding since day one. Okay, that's how I feel. All right. So there are a lot of teams out there that's not even trying to get the playoffs. They really are doing what the 76ers did, is rebuilding and starting this thing all over again. Okay, so that's all I have to say on that. Now, as far as the deal itself between Carmelo Anthony either going to either the Houston Rockets or the Cleveland Cavaliers, I see Carmelo Anthony most logically going to the Rockets because the Rockets can offer more to the New York Knicks versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. In order for that trade with the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to need a third team. Okay, and in the NBA draft, there was rumors out there that speculated it was the Phoenix Suns because the Phoenix Suns wanted Kevin Love. All right, but it is what it is. But guys, tell me what you think. Sorry about the lighting. All right, but you can still hear my voice. Rate, comment, subscribe. Please, notification gang in the building. Hit that notification bell, that notification icon, so it'll let you know when my next video or live stream is going down. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One, and I am out. Y'all have a great, blessful Monday morning. Your boy just came back from the gym, and now I got to get in here, wash my ass, and go to work. Peace. Too much information, I know.